One of the amazing prophecies that it speaks about in regard with the coming of Moshiach is that in Yeshaya, the Navi Yeshaya, Perek Mem Pasuk Hey, the Pasuk says, "V'nigla kvoid Hashem, v'ra'u kol basar yachtov, ki pi Hashem diber." That the kvoid Hashem will become revealed, and all flesh will see that the word of Hashem has spoken. And this will be a big chiddush, will be a big novelty. Because up until the time of the coming of Mashiach, during Galus and beforehand, most people could only grasp Hashem only through emunah, or through, hopefully, if they have some havana in things that are spiritual. But to be able to see Elokus is something which is not regular at all. Nonetheless, when it comes to the time of Mashiach, especially in the later stages, the Navi is saying that we will be able to grasp Hashem through our vision, to better appreciate the greatness and the uniqueness of this prophecy, of this nevuah. We will first discuss what Chassidus explains the difference between Re'iyah and Shmiyah, between seeing and hearing. In the Maimer of V'chol Ma'aminim, Tafresh Samach Gimel, and in Pada B'Shalom, Tafshin Yud Gimel, it explains at great length that the difference between Re'iyah and Shmiyah is, Re'iyah, seeing, when a person sees something, it affects them very deeply. We see this also in the Gemara, in Rosh Hashanah, Daf Chavav Amud Aleph, that the reason why Ein Eid Nasa Dayan, the reason why someone who was a witness, they saw a certain event, a certain incident, the reason why they could not then become a dayan to pass ruling on what happened is because the dayan has to be impartial. And the lashon of the Gemara is, Kevan dechazyu, being that the aid saw it, he perceived it with his vision, with his eyes, su loy matzu chazi le'schusei. He's not going to be able to find a schus for the person who's being judged. In other words, once the aid saw it, ein eid nasa dayan. He can't become a person, the dayan is a person who hears, and even if he hears how bad the person was, or he hears how people saw what happened, but he could still find the schus because he only heard it. But the aid who saw it, he could never become a dayan. Once he has the vision, once he saw it, it's so true by him, he could never become impartial. He can never go into such an objective state to say that maybe he could find a schus for this person because he saw it. It's so true what he saw. Masha'en kein Shmiyah, when a person hears something, it's not that true by a person, as we see by the dayan itself, that he could still find the schus even after he heard the testimony of those who saw the incident. Because of this difference between Re'iyah and Shmiyah, that Re'iyah is so true and it affects a person so deeply, but Shmiyah, a person could still be indifferent. Because of this, we see that Re'iyah, when a person sees something, Re'iyah could be toifis, it could grasp gashmistic things, materialistic things. In other words, when a person sees something, and they're seeing something which is materialistic, they're seeing gashmis. But when a person hears, a person doesn't hear a gashmistic thing. They hear a sound. A sound is much more spiritual. It's something which we can't really touch. A person can't physically touch a sound with their hand. And the reason for this is because we are gashmistika people. And for a gashmistika person, he could perceive with his vision gashmistika things. But if a person were to perceive something spiritual with his eyes, then as a physical, mortal human being, they would be very deeply affected by seeing the spirituality, and they would not be the same person again. Ever again. A person can't be the same person once they perceive real spirituality. We as human beings, physical, materialistic human beings, all we could see is something which is physical. When Mashiach's going to come, all this is going to change. Our perception of everything, what we will see only spirituality. V'nigla kvoid Hashem, the kavod of Hashem will be revealed. V'ro'u kol basar. The basar will see Pi Hashem. We will see the word of Hashem being spoken. We will see the spirituality. Just like now, what we see is physical, what we see is gashmis. When Mashiach is going to come, what will be revealed to us, our eyes, our perception, our visual perception will become ruchnius, will become spirituality. And the world, on the other hand, the gashmistika world, is something that's not going to be that simple to us. What's simple to us now, which is the gashmistika world, and for the existence of Hashem, we sort of need proofs. We sort of need amunah and proofs, as all the Sfarim try to explain to us. But when Mashiach's going to come, we're going to need a proof of the physical, materialistic world. And the truth is that this already happened once in history. As it says in the Mechilta, on the Pasuk, V'chol ha'am royim es ha'koilos. It brings two shittas Rabbi Shmuel and shittas Rabbi Akiva. And shittas Rabbi Akiva is that royim es ha'koilos. He teaches the words in the Pasuk Kipshutai, that they saw the sound, they saw the spiritual phenomena. And likewise, they heard the things that people usually see. According that royim es hanishba v'shoymin es hanir, that it got changed around, because at that time there was a very special revelation of elikus, of godliness, and that's why even as physical people, Yidden were able to perceive something ruchni, and temporarily it worked. But when Mashiach's going to come, it's going to become permanent. And the reason is because after all these generations of Yidden refining the world through Torah and mitzvahs, the world will be a kli, will be a vessel, and will be able to handle that. We will be able to perceive Ruchnius, we'll be able to perceive Hashem Himself, and we won't be nispatel. It's going to be a normal thing, and it will be something permanent in our physical world and in our physical existence.